So backbenchers, election 2017, do come and join us 6 p.m. every Wednesday for the filming here. Love to have you along. Thank you very much. Charlotte Ryan took to the streets of, I think it was Lambton Quay, is that right, Charlotte?
Lambton Quay, yes.
Lambton Quay this afternoon, and asked this question.
What do you think when you see beggars on the street?
I ignore them, actually. I think there's lots of agencies they can go to.
They make me feel uncomfortable when I see them, because I think that, well, that we should do something about that. I'm not sure what, but yeah, it doesn't feel right.
Do you think that they should be banned?
Yeah.
I think it's a bit disgraceful, to be honest, that New Zealand being such a wealthy, prosperous and modern society, that we don't support people well enough who've ended up on the streets.
I'm struggling. If I'm on that line, the only thing I've got is a roof over my head and a job.
I make more than what I do on my dole.
And how much would you make in a day sitting here on...
A good day, $60.
Do you ever give money to them?
No, I haven't actually.
Yes. Yeah.
But more often give food rather than money.
People work hard for their money, and if you want money, you should work hard for it yourself rather than sitting and begging.
It's a human right, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, because you don't know what their situation is.
All I know is I'm just blessed to be sitting here and getting money and food.
Very cool. Charlotte, thank you very much for doing that. Now, let's go around the panel. Should it be okay to beg on the streets? In Napier, Chris Hipkins, 2 men are taking the city to court saying it's okay, that banning begging is a fundamental breach of freedom of expression. What do you think?
Oh, I think the banning is a ridiculous idea. The banning doesn't make the problem go away. And actually, we've got to look at the underlying cause of how people are ending up on the streets in the first place. And banning it is a simplistic solution that actually removes humanity from the equation. And actually, we've got to have a bit more humanity about these things.
Tracy Martin, what?
Yeah.
Very good. Do you agree with Chris Hipkins on this?
I do, actually. I do think, however, because sometimes, listen, I think Greenpeace, people who try and sign you up for monthly donations, or the World Wildlife Fund, they can be as intimidating as somebody who's asking me for cash. They can. They take more money. But, so I'm just really saddened that I live in a country where there are people begging on the street. I'm really saddened about that.
Is begging a human right?
I don't know if it's a human right, but it's a human right to have enough to live, to eat, to have shelter, right? That's the human right.
All right, Matt Ducey, is begging a human right?
I just think that statement's just academic waffle. What's important is these people individually, they've clearly been let down. I mean, councils only have really one tool, and that's their bylaw. They've got to protect their residents, their business owners, their ratepayers, but really, this is a good example of silos happening and the services not connecting. I mean, on saying that, some people choose not to engage with social services. We know that. Every person has got their own situation.
There are some businesses in Wellington here that suggested a perimeter around ATM machines.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? They're not happy about the people in town begging.
Yeah, but my point being, you can go along with that, but it doesn't address the underlying issues of why are these people not getting the help they need through the services on the ground.
All right, what do you reckon, Gareth?
Oh, look, it saddens me and it disgusts me that council are trying to push this out of the public eye. Some offices now have sprinklers so people can't sleep out front. And I agree with Tracy. People have a human right to beg. More importantly, they have a human right, and we all have a responsibility to make sure everyone's homed, fed, has power, has a job. Those are the rights that we should be discussing.
Okay, very well said. Now, let's go to Charlotte in the audience.
Actually, I wonder if the Federated Farmers have any opinion on this sort of thing. What do you think? Should beggars be banned, or is it a human right?
We actually don't have a position on it, obviously, but it is intriguing when I come to town to walk through and see people who are struggling at that level, and it is quite confronting. And I imagine if you owned a shop, you'd be like, oh, I don't quite want you there. But if people are on that level of subsistence, it's a tough call. So yeah.
Personally?
Yeah, I think if you need it that badly, yeah, you should be able to do it.
Thank you. You don't often see it in provincial towns, do you? What about, we've got so much delicious food being handed around here. What do you think? You were actually totally shaking your head before. Should beggars be allowed to be on the streets?
I think that there should be more
effort put into the services, I think, like the panel said, like, what's the cause of the problem? I think that they should be given adequate housing and mental health support. Get to the problem, not just.
Do you give to beggars?
No, I don't, because down in Courtney Place, for example, like, they can be quite intimidating, and I think they need to be removed from there. It's
You've just contradicted yourself in a sense, haven't you?
No, not really, because like I said, they need to be find out what's causing the problem. If there's sufficient agencies, I believe, that are there to help them. They should be helped, not just going around targeting people at ATM machines. That's what I was meaning.
Right, thank you. Wallace, what do you think?
Here's the deal, right? Here's the deal. Aotearoa 2017. The number of people living on the street is quite extraordinary. I'm from Auckland here, and you see it. It's been noticeable in the last 10 years. It has increased quite a lot. Matt, National, what's going on?
Well, I think what we need to do is get better services wrapped around these people. So some people choose not to engage in the services.
It's more than
Part
just
of our social housing policy was to say, let's do what we can around tenancy management, but how do we put social services in to wrap around mental health, drugs and alcohol, all the associated issues? It needs to be on an individual basis.
It just seems to be, that's all great, but it seems to be sort of wrapping a bandage on a sort of much deeper issue. That's what do you
mind? Look, I'm sorry, but actually I think the whole conversation starts from the wrong place. I'd really like the conversation to start from what is the standard of living we refuse to allow our citizens to fall below. So when you walk into a Work and Income New Zealand office, the first question is, do you have somewhere to live? The second question is, do you have food on the table? The third question is, now we need to help you in employment. We will not allow you to fall below a place. Right now the conversation is about money. It's about this is how much you're entitled to. Take your 200 and something or other dollars and make it work for you. We have got to switch up how these services are delivered.
Gareth, does anybody really need to beg in New Zealand?
They shouldn't, because it's in New Zealand it should be a right that you can exist without living in poverty, but it's not their fault, and it's not, as Matt said, they're not accessing the services that are there. This is the reality of New Zealand in 2017. This is the reality of 9 years of the supposed brighter future for New Zealand, and we see it with the government selling off state houses. They're having poverty wages for students, for beneficiaries. We can end poverty in New Zealand. We just lack the political will under national.
Final thoughts. What final thoughts on begging in Aotearoa in 2017?
Every one of those people is a human being, and they've all got a story that should be told. And actually, instead of presuming why they are there and how they've come to be there, perhaps we should actually spend some time going and asking them why they're there and what they need in order to be able to get ahead and get out of that cycle that they're in.
All right, quickly on the panel before we go. Gareth, you go past a person on the street, do you give to them?
When my kids are with me, I can't not do it, because they ask me, Dad, why are they sitting there?
Matt Ducey?
No.
$2 coin?
No.
Get Tracy?
Actually, sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I go and give $20 to a person, and then there are other times when I think, I've actually seen you several times and I'm not doing it
Chris
today.
Hipkins?
Yeah, sometimes.
All right, hashtag backbenchers. What do you think about this issue? Next up, is there a price on New Zealand citizenship?
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.